build-up to this game was huge. Friday night footy, big stage, and the general consensus was, well, if Port Adelaide are going to do anything this year, they're going to take a scalp. Carlton's a big scalp at the Marvel Stadium, and when you give up a 25-point lead at half-time and reel them in, it's as good as Port could have hoped for tonight.
Yeah, they defended well, didn't they? And they stayed with them. Fought back hard in the second half. We know, obviously, they would have known Carlton was coming off a 5-day break, so they were vulnerable. They lose Mackay before the game, which we'll talk about later on. But it was really Charlie or bust tonight. Yeah. That's what it looked like. It looked like he was going to rip the game apart in the first half.
You picked it beautifully, Tommy, at three-quarter time. All the numbers were suggesting that they were coming really hard, 10 points down, and just rolled over the top of them. Carlton kicked one goal for the second half, their equal lowest score for the year.
Yeah, quite incredible. And to touch back again on Brownie's point of the short turnaround, I think we could see some decisions in the way that Carlton were moving off ball really showed the fact that they may have but just had a little bit of fatigue in their legs.
Have a look at this, and we keep looking at it and keep saying the same thing week after week after week, this most extraordinary of seasons. So they sit second at the moment, Carlton. They could tumble down the ladder on the back of this, and Port Adelaide...
They want Kenny sacked, don't they? He's third on the ladder.
I know, what an incredible force. There's a lot of footy still to be played this season, but Port Adelaide have won 4 of their last 5 games, and Carlton have won 1. 4 of their last 5, sorry, Port. Carlton 1 of their last 4. It's not the sort of form line you want coming into a September with the expectations around Carlton. I know there were players out, and there were late withdrawals, but take absolutely nothing away from this Port Adelaide side.
11. I think they're 11 from 12 at Marvel as well. So it's a game where they play really good football. But I reckon you're right. You can choose the storyline you want. But I think watching that game, it was a gritty effort. And as you said, sometimes it's hard to play when you're not playing pretty footy. But they just had to come on the road against a Carlton side which Ollie Wines mentioned, which was second on the ladder, and win away when the pressure was on this Port Adelaide side to perform. So hats off.
Minutes before half-time, Carlton kicked 5 goals in a row. Motlop had kicked one to put them 31 points up. Georgiades kicks that goal late to get it back to 25, but it's a massive comeback.
Yeah, it is, on the road, because the Carlton crowd was in it, weren't they? And that's as loud as there is in the competition at the moment. So no matter how you win, it doesn't matter how you win on the road. You just got to win, especially when you're an interstate team. So that's huge. They could carry that confidence in because you actually look at their form line the last few weeks, it's been pretty good, Gus.
What about the territory battle? How did we see that?
Yeah, well, it was obviously a demolition in the second half for the Blue Baggers, wasn't it? So we just have a look at that. 63% of the time in forward half. It felt a lot more than that. It felt more like about 75%, to be honest. So...
Plus 600 metres in the second half.
Look at that, forward half turn.
Well,
it's only 6 in the first half.
Yeah.
And we know how big of a territory team they are. They're in the top 3 in the competition, but 18 in the second half. So obviously that damn wall was going to break eventually for Carlton.
You win in clearance, you win in forward half turnovers, you're intercepting the ball really well, ball's going to live in your half.
Yeah, and the other thing it does is it tires the opposition. So they've got to get up and right up the ground. Their forwards have got to get up the ground and defend. And we touched on it a couple of times, but the 5-day break, it only fatigues sides more in the second half. And that's probably what it looked like a little bit. And
the other thing is too, then, obviously you would see this firsthand, Tommy, is the defenders then can start, those key defenders can start to play a really aggressive positioning and they start having intercept marks, like Zerk Thatcher had some intercept marks late. So it was hard for Curnow, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, it was. And he, Zerk Thatcher was playing on Curnow and beating him in those one-on-one intercepts. So that allowed Aliir to be able to almost roam and protect and be that general down there for them.
What do you got for us, Jury?
Yeah, well, this will probably give you a picture of what we're talking about, especially in the second half. So thanks to Zero for this lab. So it's sort of about repeat inside 50s and the way that they've been doing this Port Adelaide. So not a great kick, Gaze, but Rioli gets there. And then it's these ones where come out to the congestion and this is where Aliir and Zerk Thatcher really held their own. And as these boys said, you can get really high up the ground. You see there, Charlie Curnow, he wants to be a little bit deeper, but this was the second re-entry that they're able to get. And then it's just probably the failures because there's congestion inside forward 50, the campers that sit in there, and they weren't able to get a really big spoil. So once again, we spoke about this pre-game. Carlton's ability to take the ball offline in the second half dried up. Now, whether that was through fatigue, through run further down the field, but this just played, for me, right into Port Adelaide's hands. So you see those front half turnovers, that was exactly why. Back into traffic, repeat inside 50s, and as you said, Brownie, the damn wall broke.
Interested, we spoke about Asava at half-time. Give us your thoughts. Like, he had some really good moments again after half-time.
Yeah, he's a great competitor, Sava. I played a lot of footy with him, coached him and helped him in his evolution of learning the game. And that was as a forward ruckman. Now we've seen him go back and tonight swing forward again. So 2 goals, kicks his second and third goals for the Port Adelaide Football Club, and love seeing a player go forward and have the impact. We can see his teammates obviously clearly love what he does and love what he's doing in him going forward when he's predominantly been playing as that defender. So I thought he was really impactful. He's worked down the line to not only to mark the ball, but create contests was really important too, and probably something he's not known for is finishing in big moments. And when we saw it there, so I thought he was brilliant. He'd be really happy with his performance.
Yeah, that was huge, really important. Start the last quarter, first goal of the fourth quarter that put him back in front. So I'm not criticising Charlie Dixon, but you can't keep going back to Charlie. Now, I know they love Charlie, and they should, because Charlie's been a great servant for a long period of time. But Charlie versus Jacob Wiedering tonight and Charlie versus Richmond last week are just poles apart. So they need to find someone, whether it's Asava, Ratugolea or not, whether Marshall comes back and can partner up with Georgiades. But I love that Ratugolea went forward, and there was just a couple of looks where I went, geez, something that you could get a little bit excited about.
It's funny, though, because you look at Dixon and he takes Wiedering. So if Dixon's not there, Wiedering's probably on Georgiades or Ratugolea. So I understand probably the output is what you're talking about, which is absolutely a discussion. So maybe when Marshall comes back, that's probably the magnet. But he's still taking the best defender.
Yeah, I really like him as well when he goes into the ruck and can get around the ball and impact at ground level too. So I still think that there's a really important piece for Charlie Dixon to have within the footy club.
There's a bit of a gang up.
Mate, you've been just shot out of the water there.
Are you going to fly the flag, or are you just going to sit there?
So, no.
You're still shouting after Willem Drew. That's
His head's just going.
I'm still trying to work out whether Willem Drew actually knows me.
So what about the Blues? I mean, this is the sort of year it is, isn't it? I mean, it is. At various stages, they've looked like the absolute genuine premiership contender. Now they've lost 4 or 5 at this time of the year. A couple of players are injured, will come back. What are we seeing from them? I guess they're like nearly every other side in the competition. Their best is good enough to win it, and their worst might see them miss out.
Yeah, that's right. They don't know what the makeup of their team is, whether that be through injury or form. So that's a big challenge for Michael Voss, obviously, in the ruck stocks. What's that going to look like if they do make it to September, which they should? What's the second key? Who's the second key defender? Obviously Harry didn't play tonight, but he'll come back. So they've just got a few issues there, and obviously Akers is important as well. We talk about run.
Yeah, I think he's missed.
Yeah, he's missed. And another one is Jack Martin too. Yep. He gives something different down the forward line. I know he's been injury prone, so probably been hard to depend on him. But yeah, I think that's where it's at the moment. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one for Michael Voss, but as he's clearly showed before the game, he's not that happy with the way the team's travelling at the moment.
I looked at midfield depth, and especially tonight we spoke about Drew and his role on Cripps. So guys like Walsh and Hewitt, Walsh is an A-grade, but Hewitt and Newman and I thought Holland's actually had a really good first half, played some really important parts, probably dropped out of the game in the second half. But I also look for midfield depth. I just don't think they have the midfield depth to support Walsh and Cripps at the moment with Akers.
So they need to get Chera going, because he's that A-grade midfielder they hoped, and he's shown he's been that at times when he's not injured.
Yeah, I would like to see him back into the midfield mix. Yeah, to add to that and just give them a different look.
Right, I'm looking through.
Where do you see him, mate, Gaz? Where do you see him?
I think at their best they win it. They can win it. Like that. Yeah. But it's just that season, like their fanaticism and their pressure. When their pressure's up and their fanaticism's there, and we're all the same thought process when Charlie and Harry are in the same team. They've got most things covered. But now we just start. I think Geordie's point's good. I'm looking through that midfield group, and beyond those 3, have they got enough depth coming through? And now just open up a little crack in their back half. So I'm interested in what's going to happen in the next 4 weeks. I'm not as bullish as I have been in the past. No. So the Blues fans, and there's plenty of them, they'd just be a touch nervous tonight, I would have thought.